I'm going to continue making this video, but I have to tell you the reason why I'm making this video is because I think anyone who follows and supports Andrew Tate is a guy who or person who likes arguing and is probably not very nice and has very warped beliefs and sees everything wrong, believes that the government's all corrupt and isn't willing to listen to other people's views or be realistic when it comes to views. And therefore I like the idea of making this video, not to necessarily attack Andrew Tate, but just to see how many of his followers I can get to respond and comment back and tell me I'm wrong and stuff. But anyway, I'm God, and this guy, I just seen a little bit. He talks about God, well, a little bit. And I just want to continue. I have no idea what else he's going to say, but
saying to you, we're in a mess, and we need a solution to all of them. And the solution to all of them is the same thing I said it was earlier, which is God. Because why did we build beautiful cathedrals? God. I said, no. Why?
No, you didn't build beautiful cathedrals because of God. You built beautiful cathedrals because you want that the people who ruled the church wanted to control the people. So they said, you know what, God is real. We need money to build a good church because we want to support God. But really all they were doing was building a house that they could talk to the people and they can control the people. So they did not build beautiful cathedrals for God. Catholic churches versus Protestant churches, there are a difference. I like Catholic churches because they're full of decoration and prettiness. So I'm more in favour of liking them, and I like the windows. The stained glass windows are quite nice. But they didn't know that. They don't know what God likes. So they built the churches not for me. They built it for themselves to rule over the population. So yeah, don't say that was because of God.
Why did people get married and stay married? God.
No, it's because the people who were preaching about it were preaching that marriage is important. And you know what? It was back then. Why? Because condoms didn't exist. Condoms have changed everything. Before condoms didn't exist, women used to get raped and women used to have kids, and the kids would grow up not knowing their father. Many of these people did not like growing up. Many of these kids that were born raised in single parents did not like the idea of having only a mother and no father, because women weren't allowed to work. And if women weren't allowed to work, because of them being given shitty jobs because of the sexist pigs that would refuse to give them decent jobs, they then were all brought up poor with no father helping to pay the bills, because the jobs the mother was getting wasn't good enough. So marriage became the best thing and the best solution for people to try and promote to stop rape and to promote the idea that it's best it's best to raise kids as a family unit. And you know what? That's right. You need one person working and earning the money. You need one person looking after the kids, because kids are hard work. Babies need to be fed round the clock, otherwise they die. And people were realizing that if the mother was forced to work, then she can't look after the kids. If the kids can't be looked after, then they're more likely to get raped or attacked by other people, or not get the proper breastfeeding, and too many babies were dying. So society come up with the whole idea of marriage, not because this is how society functions, but this was because this was what was best back then. Now though, we have things like condoms, we had things like ways of abortion that is different. So things are very different now. Circumstances is very different, and therefore you shouldn't just rely on what was best in the past. What was best in the past does not mean that it's what's best in the future. Cooking for large numbers of people all at the same time was probably best back then, but now that we've got things like microwaves, it doesn't matter if everyone in the family wants to eat at different times, because it's very easy to cook and we don't have to spend ages. Preparing a fire back then would have been hard, so it'd be better to cook something on like a big stew, cook it all at the same time, eat it all at the same time. In fact, even Tudors ate once a day because that was best, because cooking was quite hard. It was best to have just one big meal a day. But now that we have better, things have changed, so everything changes.
God was the solution to everything. That's why they're trying to remove it. They have to remove God. So they...
God was just the way of controlling people, and now people are realizing that the God that they have created in the past is all fake, and they're just trying to remove the fake part of God can do everything. But yeah, I think a lot of people are fighting against that, and they're like, no, God can do everything, and these are the people that are actually just leading their flock into death. But yeah, if you want to lead your flock into death, I'm very happy with that, because I don't support your followers. I think anyone who can't see the anger and rage and the falseness of your preaching, I think anyone who can't see this or be rational, I want them to attack me, because I'm God, and I'm just going to embarrass myself, right? Come on. If you're a fan of this guy and you want to attack me, go ahead, because I'm just a woman and I'm going to just embarrass myself. So just write all your negative comments on the bottom of this. Come on, I dare you to.
So they can attack all of these different institutions with these insane ideologies, and these ideologies are weaponized virtue.
You telling people that guys wanting to be girls, or guys wanting to date girls, guys wanting to date guys, and women wanting to date men, and abortions, you telling people this is you attacking them, and they are attacking you because you're saying it's wrong. So there's definitely a war between the two sides, and I'm glad that there's a war between the two sides, because one is right, one is on the right side, one is on the side that I agree with and I support, and one is on the side that I don't agree, and I don't agree with your side, hence I don't agree with your followers either, and therefore I would love your followers to attack me, hence why I'm making this video.
I am the number one target for weaponized virtue.
I agree so, and I don't care.
Take a word, a virtuous word.
God.
Homophobia. You hate gay people. You hate. No, I love my children. I don't hate gay people. I love my children.
What has your children got to do with other people's lives? If a guy is dating another guy, what has that got to do with your children? What, you don't want your children knowing that other people are dating someone of the same sex? This has got nothing to do with you, and this has got nothing to do with your children. Your children, if you don't want them to be gay, well, I would love to give you a gay person. I would love to. I really hope. I don't know who your children are, but if your children do turn out to be gay, I think that would be a good. You make someone gay by putting them in the wrong sex, but yeah, if you say if you were a female in your past life and you loved being a female, and then you say, right, well, but you hate males, and therefore we're gonna make you male, so that you'll experience the opposite sex. This is how. So if basically, to make you gay, I would need to put you in. If you say you love females, then if you were a female in your next life, you will then feel strange, because you would have all the memories of you loving a guy in your past life, and you would feel like, but now I'm a female, that makes me gay, and therefore, I don't know, it's only a matter of time before you become gay. But to be honest, I think you need to go back to being an animal first. But I don't know, you do have a very strong character, and because you have a strong character, I just feel like you've probably been human a few times before, hence, and I think you've been animal a few times as well. But I don't. I don't. I think my higher self's using you.
Children, don't start saying hate at me. I'm a man of love, and they take it, and it's a virtue, right? Protecting gay people, like they need protecting from me. I don't interact with them. They need protecting from me. Why? What am I? Because I love my kids, and then
You're encouraging your followers to hate gay people. They don't need protecting from you. They need protecting from the things that you're saying to encourage your followers to also hate gay people. You're building up an army against gay people, building up an army against women who want to compete against men. You're building up an army, and you're trying to use God as a way of doing that. Oh, people in the past built lovely churches, and now they're building shit churches. This is because in the past they loved God, and now they don't. No, it's just because in the past that they had preachers who claimed to talk for God had a lot of money and power, because people were giving it to them, and now the people are starting to think, yeah, I don't believe in this God. Hence, there's not as much money going into new churches being built. People are thinking, yeah, we're not going to put this much money into churches because God doesn't have as much power now, because there's so much debate over what God is actually like. And people, I think, people are actually connecting with God, which is me, and they're realizing that I'm not this tiger of a God that is created in the Bible, and therefore people are giving less money to the churches. This is why churches are shit now.
Then they throw it at you. And they pretend they're virtuous, but they're not. They're just attacking you. It's weaponized
Aren't you pretending to be virtuous?
virtue. All of these things are. These people are insane.
You're insane.
It's all weaponized. It's all weaponized. So it's difficult for me to answer your question because
it was a good answer.
Well, yeah, but all the ideologies are so poisonous
because they're not reality; they're ideology.
And your belief of you protecting your children, trying to stop other men from dating other men because you're protecting your children, that's not a poisonous belief. That's not a poisonous belief. Telling women that they can't compete against men because they're just going to fail and embarrass themselves, that's not a poisonous belief. What other ones? Telling people that the reason why churches were amazing in the past and are shit now is because people are falling away. That's not that they're falling away from God. That's not a poisonous belief. I mean, I would say that people who don't want to give money to and support to the churches are actually on God's side, because I'm not on the God of the Bible. I'm not on that side, and therefore if people are giving less money to it, I'm actually supportive of it. I would love to know how the churches are. I was just thinking about AJ Miller just before I watched this, and I was thinking, is the Vatican going to support AJ Miller as being the real Jesus? He is the real Jesus. I think the Muslim community might want to promote AJ Miller as being the real Jesus, because their version of what Jesus is actually the same as what AJ Miller is, because he's just someone who inspired the Bible, and that's kind of about, he's a teacher, that's about it. So I think Muslims might actually support AJ Miller quite a lot. But yeah, how are the Vatican going to be on his side? I don't know. I mean, maybe he can rise up first, and then you can do a vote to see who is able to believe that AJ Miller was the real Jesus who inspired the Bible. But the stories about him just got changed, and then maybe if there is a high support of it, then the Vatican might have to start supporting. I don't know how that's going to play out. But people promote God because they want power, and they want to use the word God to try and control and gain power. And so to say that everyone else's ideologies are poisonous because they're not using the word God, I would say the opposite. I think people who use the word God to try and gain power and get people's respect, that is the poisonous ideology that is not the truth.
Absolutely, they're not reality. I did a podcast. It's a clip that should be a lot more famous, where I was sitting on the Fresh and Fit podcast. I was sitting with a bunch of women, and we were arguing literally about how men and women can do the same things, and women can do everything a man can do. And I was being deliberately comedic as to not decimate them absolutely intellectually.
Because of course I could have decimated them absolutely. Look, seriously, if I got a woman to repeat every single word that you said, only talk about women, I had this debate with a bunch of guys who thought that they could do exactly what women can do, and who thought that they were as good as women, but I could have absolutely decimated them with my intelligence. If I would have said that in the same way that you would say it, people would be looking at me like I hate men. Okay, I kind of do, but I hate women too. It's all the same thing. I hate both male and female. I am God, you are scum. That is my ideology. But yeah. If I would love to make a comedy version where I just get a female to repeat the exact same words as you, only change the support and put it on the female side rather than on the male side, and everyone would hate that person. But if it's a comedy and done designed to try and just shame this person, I wouldn't be surprised. But he's crazy.
I was making them laugh and telling them they're all wrong, and then an intruder tried to break in to the podcast studio. And me and the other men got up, primarily me, I think he was saying my name at first, to go and deal with this intruder in Miami who could have easily been armed. And all the women, quite rightly, got very afraid and started hiding. And when I sat back down, I was like, okay, well that just proved all your garbage wrong.
No, what that proves is that you have no fear. Just because you have no fear, that doesn't mean that you're better. That's the thing. You take everything from an inverted perspective. You would see fear as being proof that women are weak. Some guy walked in, could have had a gun. The women all hide. I didn't. I'm the better one, I'm the smarter one. No, you're the one that's going to more likely be shot if someone had a gun. And if they come into that house looking for you to shoot you, then you would have been far smarter and wiser and more intelligent to do what the women did. The women did what they did because they were smart, because they know that people can be evil, people can hurt and harm others. They might aim the gun at you, but they might miss and they might shoot them, and they don't want to die. So they did the smart thing, you did the dumb thing, but of course you're going to invert everything because you're so dumb that you think that it's a good thing to be fearful. You know what? You thinking that it's bad to fear the fact that someone might have a gun and shoot you, you thinking that that is a bad thing, that just proves how stupid you fucking are for believing in total inversion. But you know what? I'm glad. Yeah, if someone comes in and might have a gun and might shoot you, come on, go fight them. Go fight them. And let's really hope that they don't miss.
Didn't it? So all of these ideologies, there's another thing that's interesting about them, is that they only exist in a vacuum. You only get to discuss feminism when you're living in a society where life is pretty easy. In the bare struggles of survival, there's no time to discuss feminism.
You're just contradicting yourself. So you only talk about these sort of ideologies when life is easy. You just said that someone might have come into the room to try and shoot you and was calling your name and might have had a gun, and you seem to think that the ideology that you shouldn't be afraid if someone might shoot you. You know what? Yeah, keep promoting that. If someone is calling your name, might have a gun and might shoot you, keep promoting the amazing ideology that you are better to not hide, to not be afraid. And likewise, with a car, if a car is coming straight at you and you're standing in the middle of a motorway, don't be afraid, don't run away, don't hide. You know, that's bad ideology. Good ideology is to be like, to puff up your chest and say, it's just a car, it's not going to hurt me. Keep promoting that lovely ideology.
Or the climate, or LGBT, all this garbage only exists in a vacuum. And the vacuum...
Oh, and make sure that when you have ideologies, always call the person that has the wrong ideology garbage. Garbage, rubbish. They believe that it's bad, it's wrong to hide. Yeah, it's wrong and hide. It's wrong and hide. It's wrong to hide if someone might shoot you. Yeah. So anyone who thinks that you should hide if someone might shoot you, they're garbage. You don't want to be garbage. You want to be a king. If someone might shoot you, you need to face them, because that's how you be a king.
The vacuum that they're existing in is a very safe society which has been built by heterosexual males, families, built by people who are going to get up and go to work, built by people who don't believe in depression or anxiety or these mental health garbage. We've built a society that allows this cancer to foster. And it's...
It sounded almost like you were supporting. Society is built by people that want to work. What's wrong with that? I mean, that's how you learn. You learn through working and building and stuff. I don't know what you're trying to say.
It's kind of sad, really, that the reward for building such a beautiful society off the backs of strong, diligent, hardworking men is for them to be demonized, attacked, permanently guilty under the judicial system, and then told that they're bad people for holding a word.
You know what? What would you rather? A society full of dominant, controlling, bossy men who think that they know everything, or a society where people go home and actually love their wife, actually love their partner, actually love their kids? You know, that is the best part of life. Okay, the shitty part of life is where you go and you have to work and you have to do things you don't want to do. You have to be, that is the slavery part, where you have to work, you have to make money. And you know what, the nice part of life, the parts that you enjoy life, is where you go back home and you can actually spend time with your kids. Part of having money is knowing that you're spending it on people you like. Now, what is the point of having money if you're spending it on people that you think just you own? I own that woman, I own these kids, and I'm working not because I give a shit about them, but just because I'm the man and this is what I do. You know, you're turning yourself into a slave. But yeah, if you want to turn yourself, it's like also like farming. You know, you can say that farming is terrible, but there are some really nice farms where you can go and you can actually interact with the animals. And I think if you go to a farm where you can see the animals and you can see them being so happy, you know, you can get so much self-enjoyment just from seeing how happy these animals are over the small amount of seeds you give them. You give them some seeds, oh look, they're wagging their tails, or they're looking very happy over what you've done. You know, part of the enjoyment of life is knowing that you're making people happy, and therefore to say that society is only built on hard-working men who build buildings, you know, this is bullshit. This is how you make the money. This is how you make society better. But the part that you actually enjoy life, the part that you actually get to think, you know what, I'm glad to be alive, that is the part that comes from affection, from a love. And you can't love and have this affection towards something you think you own and something you think you control. So what you're saying is just looking at one side of the argument and ignoring ignoring the better side of it. You know, if all life was about was just building houses, you might as well just turn yourself into a robot.
Worldview, which is the exact worldview they needed to hold to be useful to society in the first place. Did you hear about the Iceland strike?
No.
Bro. So Iceland, which I would probably argue, don't ban me from Iceland, the government, I'm just talking. Chill. I haven't even been yet. They're going to ban me. Look at all this.
See, he already knows that something he's going to say is against people, and he doesn't care. He's just going to say it anyway. He doesn't care what. He's just saying it.
He's not allowed here. I'm sure it's very nice. Iceland, which I would argue is probably going to be one of the most liberal countries in the world, I'd argue. I'd also argue that women are treated pretty fairly in Iceland, I'd argue. I mean, it's not Pakistan or something. So all the women in Iceland decide to go on a strike because they don't get paid enough. In Iceland, where I'm sure they're paid the same as men. So 100,000 women went on strike, which is a third of the population of the country.
100,000 women go on strike because they say that they have evidence that they're being underpaid, and yet you're just going to be like, not true. Not true. I don't believe that. They're being paid the same. So why would your view be the true view when you've not been there? You don't know the truth. You don't know what they're going through. You don't know why would your view be the truth when 100,000 people say that it's not the truth because they've gone on protest? Why would you not think that maybe they're doing this for a reason?
For 4 whole days, and they went on this strike to prove, I think even the Prime Minister, bro, they're definitely going to ban me. The Prime Minister...
So even the Prime Minister went. So these 400 people went on strike for 4 days to try and make a claim because they believe they have evidence on something. And you're just going to say, I don't believe it. That's not the truth. Never been there. No clue. Never, I don't know anything. But I'm going to say it's not the truth. Why? Because that's my view and I'm a male. Males have penises. Guys that have penises are the truth. You know, this is a toxic ideology. If everyone just believed whatever they wanted to believe, despite the fact that 100,000 other people believe in a different thing. You know, I hate the fact that people are believing false religions, but I recognize the fact that people are believing false religions for a reason, and I therefore respect the fact that people are worshipping the Antichrist because that is what they have chosen and there must be a higher purpose for it. So I'm not actually... Okay, I'm angry about it, but I'm not holding resentment back because I know that things happen for a reason. If 1 billion people, 2 billion people think that Jesus is God, and I know that that's not the truth, I'm not on their side. I'm not supporting them. I don't agree with them. I believe they're all wrong. But at the same time, I know that there's probably a reason why they've chosen the opposite side. And that's because they want to get into heaven. And I'm thinking with that, that's just the place where they go when they die. Oh, I like that idea. Yeah, continue believing that. I don't care. And you should see it this way though. If 100,000 people are going on a protest for 4 days because they're saying we're not getting paid as much for the same jobs as men, you know, maybe they're true. Maybe there's truth to that. Even if you don't believe in it, even if you don't agree with it, there's probably some truth to it, and there's a reason why they do what they do. And with me, I see the reason why people worship the Antichrist, and I also see the reason why people would turn to Islam and inversion, because they also see an inverted, they don't believe that I'm God. They don't think that someone like me could be a God, so they turn to inversion, and I like the fact that they do that, because I get an understanding of what kind of person they are and what kind of things that they believe. Obviously, they believe in things that are completely inverted to me, and you have chosen Islam, so I know that you are someone who's in an inverted mind state. But you know what? Again, I like the war, so I'm very happy with people being on the opposite side.
Minister went on strike herself. So 4 days on the women worked. A third of the entire country, 0% of the female workforce went to work to prove how important women were. You know what happened?
Tell me.
Nothing. The roads still worked, the traffic lights still worked, there was still electricity, the police still turned up, the firemen still turned up, because the men do the real work. Oh, there was no...
Stupid. If it would have been the other way around, and men would have all taken off one day and the women would have been able to, I'm pretty sure the same thing would have happened. But you have to also admit that the whole world has trained men to believe that they must be the ones that work. Now, if you spend a whole lifetime treating one sex like they need to work and the other sex like they need to not work, then why would you expect it for them to not continue doing work? The majority of police officers are male, so if all the females take off, there probably wouldn't be that many. But that's just because the males are the ones that... Guys are better at fighting. If there's a fight breaking out, males are the better ones that are doing it. Males are physically more able to do things because their body is more physical. But yeah, when the women die, they become males, and they'll get a stronger body. So it's the mind. It's the mind that's more important than the body. And I don't get the point you're trying to make, because you're not making a point.
HR department for 4 days. What are we going to do about the gender equality diversity department? Turns out that they just proved themselves wrong, because if for 4 days all the men didn't go to work, society would crumble instantly.
But did they test that? No, you've just said something that's based on no evidence whatsoever. There's no evidence whatsoever that if all the men didn't go to work, that society will crumble. The only thing is, though, if 80 or 90% of police officers, probably even 95, if 95% of police officers are male and no male went to work, then of course the police office service would crumble, because that's just all the roles. If you give all males certain jobs and then you expect... and then you say stop working for like 4 days, and they all stop working, and there's no police officers. Well, that's because the only reason the males are the ones that have been given certain jobs. It's not women's fault. There's not proof that women are stupid. There's not proof that women can't run society. This is just proof that the society has been set up to give things with penises better jobs, and to be honest, women are designed to be more similar to me. They're designed to have better emotions and to probably look after kids. Looking after kids is a really hard thing, with them screaming and wanting, being like you, just wanting to do whatever they want, and it's a really, you have to be really, really smart to look after kids. So the smarter jobs are actually the jobs that involve kids and looking after kids. Why? Because you have to look after them, and you don't even get paid anything for it. So you have to be a much nicer person to look after kids, and that doesn't mean that your job is less important just because the fact that you have to do a job that doesn't really that you don't get paid for. If you are like a home mother, you're doing a job that you're not getting paid for, a 24-hour job that you're not going to get any payment for. I mean, you need to get a lot of credit for that, and I don't think people like this recognize how hard it is to do a job without getting any payment. If he was expected to do a job without any payment, he would stop, because he values money more than actually caring about people. Now, if he realised that, if all the mothers stopped working, what's going to happen to the children? If all the mothers actually stopped working, which is not the truth, because they were still looking after their kids, they would, if a baby went 4 days without food and water, they'd probably die. And the fact that they didn't die proves that actually they hadn't stopped working. They were still working, they just weren't getting any payment for it. And his view on everything is just wrong.
Instantly. And it's a shame that it is the men which are so vital to society, which are the ones which are permanently...
If women really took off time and said, right, I'm not going to work, all the children would die. So it's actually, what you're saying is bullshit. All the babies that are being looked after would... Do they know that fathers can look after kids too? Fathers can be great mothers too, but I can't imagine this guy wanting to spend 24 hours a day looking after a bunch of kids. So he needs to learn that the role that his wife plays, if you are forcing her to be the sort of mother figure, is actually just far more important than the role that he plays. If guys stopped building houses, there'd just be no more houses. But if women stopped looking after children, the children would probably die and there'd be far more casualties. He doesn't value the role. It's like he's preaching that women need to look after kids, but he's paying no attention to how valuable that role actually is, and how many guys might struggle to be in that kind of position. To have to look after kids 24/7 and not get any payment, and then to have pigheads like him thinking that they must cook for them and they must do all this stuff just because they're bringing money that the mothers would have, the females would have probably wanted to take, but they weren't allowed to take it because of sexist pigs and the belief that men must work. Although I don't see a problem with guys doing the work. I don't really like working myself. So if men want to be the slaves, then they can go off and do that. But just because they're making money, that doesn't mean that they're better.
Demonized. I was saying this the other day. I was driving in my Ferrari SF90 104 with a beautiful woman, and we were discussing feminism. Because sometimes when women hear crap from the Matrix, am I allowed to say this without going back to jail? Yeah, probably not. Women are either programmed by society or programmed by the man they're with. That's what I believe.
And men too, they're not programmed to believe anything, they're the ones that are the programmers, and God, he's such a... I want to punch him. I should never ever meet this guy, because I think I would only want to throw up a fight with him.
I believe that women have evolutionarily, they've evolved to be adaptable, which is why women are cunning. They can be very cunning, though.
And you're not cunning. You're not cunning at all, and you're not adaptable either. I just can't. Reincarnation is the truth, and if you ever have another life as a human, you will 100% be female. But I don't want you to be. I don't want you to have another life as a human. But I'm just a woman. I'm just programmed by the Matrix. We're all programmed by the Matrix, you fucking freak. Even God is programmed by the Matrix. I'm God, but I was born billions of years ago in a similar timeline to this one, and we're all programmed to be a certain way. But women are. I am a lot older. I'm a lot wiser. I understand that you need to let people think what they want, believe what they want, because my higher self loves watching the viewers of who's watching this, who agrees with them, who believes in this, who... I shouldn't be angry at him. I shouldn't be angry at him because my higher self wants to reach out to the market. Who thinks that women are all just brainwashed by either the Matrix or brainwashed by men, and who thinks that men aren't like that? Are you one of those people? I'd love to say this to his fans. Are you one of these people who believes this? Do you think this is a poisonous ideology, teaching that only females are programmed by the Matrix and programmed by men, but men, that they're not programmed? Are you one of those people who believe that? Do you think that if you're a male, I'm talking to you if you're a male, do you think that you're not brainwashed in any way? You don't believe in the Antichrist because of brainwashing. You don't believe that women are stupid because of being brainwashed by fools like this guy. You're not brainwashed in any way. It's only the women that are brainwashed by false ideologies that they could be more capable or be as capable as a man, you know.
And I think that in days of old, if there were a member of a tribe and their tribe lost a war and all their men were killed, their only chance of survival was to adapt to the ways of the new tribe pretty quickly. They couldn't disagree with the new tribe because they can't defend themselves. So they had to learn to adapt. And you can look through history to see how this has happened endless times. And normally when an army comes in, it kills all the men and takes all the women.
Yeah, I think women are a little bit stupid because we keep thinking that we can change men. We keep thinking that we can make them better. We can make them like us. One day we'll make them like us. Oh, wait, I'm God, and I do make them like me, because when these men die, they die and become women. So yeah, there's truth behind why women, and also it's nice to have a multiple, like, you know, it's nice to have, I don't even know what you're talking about, because if I was living in a tribe full of controlling men and someone came and killed all the men, I'd just be like, oh, thank God. Thank God. We just need one donor, just one guy with some sperm, and I think the tribe would be so much happier. When I came as Dala, I think I was far more happier with in a tribe full of females, because there was less chance of me being raped. So yes, that was probably it. But yeah, I don't know, there is something nice about guys. It's nice when you have guys who believe that they do know what they want. You know, I like the dominance thing. I'm actually quite feminine female, so I like the idea of believing that someone else has better ideas. But yeah, when they just constantly let you down over and over again, you're just like, oh, why do I bother? Why can't I just stick with the female tribe? That would be I don't know. The guys are I like guys being a slave, and therefore if they're going to build me my houses and stuff, then I kind of like that, you know. It's just they don't see it like that. We can't see it like that. Yeah, you go and build me lots of houses, and of course you're not the slaves. No. We're the slaves, and you go and build us the houses, and we'll just sunbathe in them. I like that. You build loads of houses with nice pools, and I'll just sunbathe in them. And of course you can say that I'm the slave when really I know that you're the slave.
Women as slaves, and the women don't usually have to stay slaves. If they're pretty good at their job, they can give a nice back rub and, you know, famoose. Within 3 weeks, they're a wife or something, and it's fine. So I think...
Yeah, so women can just be the wives, and the men can just do all the work, and the men can call the women the slaves when really the men are the ones that are doing all the work, and they can say that the women are stupid. You can't build the house, you're too stupid. And then the women just be like, okay, you go off and do that. Work 9 to 5, just don't start calling me stupid, because I'm not the stupid one. But yeah, if you want to call me stupid, okay, that's fine. I'll hate you and use you as your slave, and use you as a slave. He's insulting women for being slaves whilst saying that men have to do all the work. How is men doing all the work proof that they're the slave master when they're the ones that are doing all the work?
I think that women are You think I'm going back to jail, Rob?
I'd like to see you there.
Yeah. No, but women are adaptable and cunning.
I like the interviewer, actually. The interviewer is okay. There's something about him that makes me think he's kind of okay.
I'll come back to that point later. Let's move on.
You know the system is broken and corrupt. You know the banks control your money and your freedom.
Anyway, I'm going to stop the video.